In any case, following questions would help us to discern their meaning better. Do these dreams or visions increase my desire for prayer and a deeper knowledge of Christ's teachings as offered by the church? God used dreams and visions to communicate to His people and reveal His will and plan of love for all humanity in the sacred scriptures, recounts Dr. Anthony Lilles. The Old Testament accounts for the vision of Abraham and God's covenant with Abraham. Abraham was reminded that he would have a son and be the father of many nations. Genesis chapter 15, verse 5 onwards. Joseph of the Old Testament interpreted the dreams of Pharaoh. We see it in Genesis chapter 41, verses 1 onwards. And the book of Daniel speaks of many dreams and visions of Daniel about the future of the people of Israel. And we can find it in the chapters of book of Daniel, chapter 2, chapter 7, chapter 8, chapter 9, etc. In the New Testament, the dream of Joseph is noteworthy, and we see it in Matthew chapter 2. The entire book of Revelation is a vision recounted by St. John. It is true that several men and women in the history of religious life experienced dreams and visions in their lives, which assisted them in their personal lives as well as the church. According to Wikipedia, a dream is a succession of images, ideas, emotions, and sensations that usually occur involuntarily in the mind during certain stages of sleep. Although the content and purpose of dreams are not fully understood by researchers, it is essentially a psychological phenomenon with many philosophical, religious, and moral implications. This would mean that brain has its own role in producing dreams. Having said the above, I would rely on the teaching of the church about dreams and visions in order to explore the meaning and purpose of dreams in our lives. According to the Catholic theology, there are two types of revelations in dreams and visions. One is public and the other one is private. The public revelation from the scripture and tradition is binding on all Christians of all times. The church teaches that all public revelation ended with the death of St. John the Apostle. We find it in Catechism of the Catholic Church, number 66. Whereas private revelation continues to this day, and it is only binding on the person who has experienced it. Certainly, it has to be consistent with what is already revealed in the scripture, tradition, and the magisterium of the church. Further, Catechism teaches that there has been private revelations all through the ages, and some were recognized by the authority of the church. Yet, they don't belong to the deposit of faith. It is not their role to improve or complete Christ's definitive revelation, but to help live more fully by it in a certain period of history. Catechism of the Catholic Church, number 67. There are instances of private revelation that has served to build up the church, such as the visions of Saint Teresa of Calcutta. Church also invites us to discern our dreams and visions, whether they come from God or not. Spiritual masters like Saint John of the Cross would tell us that it is almost impossible to interpret dreams and visions on our own. One must seek the guidance of a spiritual guide or confessor for proper discernment of them. In any case, following questions would help us to discern their meaning better. Do these dreams or visions increase my desire for prayer and a deeper knowledge of Christ's teachings as offered by the church? Do they encourage me to obey the moral law and the precepts of the church? Do they motivate me to deny self-tendencies, self-indulgence, self-righteousness in favor of serving my neighbor? Do they encourage me to forgive the faults and offenses of my brothers and sisters? It is significant to keep in mind that God would never inspire someone to disobey His own commands or abandon the duties of their state of life.